I've said before that it's easier to predict a fighter's upward trajectory than a downfall, and today let's see how right or wrong I'm about to be, because we're predicting UFC fighters that I believe are going to dominate in 2026 and go on win streaks or get close to title shots, some of them even becoming champions. So today we're going to be predicting one fighter from each of the UFC's men's divisions that I think is going to go on an absolute tear in 2026, whether I like it or not. You know what I'm saying? Starting off with the first one we got here, I'm going to start with the featherweight division here. You know, I was really thinking about giving Gene Silva a shout. I'll get to him in a second, but I'm going with Diego Lopes here, man. It kind of builds itself up anyways because he's fighting on like the second massive card of the year and he's in a title fight. So if he wins that one, immediately he's able to be active. He can fight in the summer. He can fight in the fall. They're going to want him on that new Noche card as the champion, as the Mexican, Brazilian guy representing that side of the world. Like, they want a Mexican champion. Diego is-ish that. You know what I'm saying? So the UFC wants him to win. And listen, he's my early prediction to beat Volk. And I love Volk. My favorite fighter. Second favorite fighter at worst, right? I want Volk to do well here. But I'm picking against him. I think Lopes is going to get a round 2 or 3 KO. I'm sorry. I hope I'm wrong here. But if he does, I think that sets up for a primetime big matchup. Probably Noche UFC versus the winner of Murphy versus Movsar. And it works out great. And I like Lopes' chances a lot in each of those matchups. I'm sorry. I know a lot of people are going to say, oh, you're such a casual. Movsar is so technical. And Lerone Murphy is so elite everywhere. And, like, I understand that. We're dealing with this age of featherweight. Featherweight's always been this good pretty much. But Movsar, Murphy, and Lopes are all so well-rounded. They all have so many strengths, right? So many different weapons to their fucking arsenal, right? Volkanovski does more than any of them. He's just kind of, on the older end of age. It sucks to see, right? He's like our old man Skips. But the point is, I like Lopes' chances against Evlov in a rematch. I'd go with him. The fact that he was already given Evlov, granted, a few years ago, problems, dude, and it was like 4 or 5 days notice. It was some crazy short notice fight, right? And Lopes' like UFC debut. And I would pick Lopes any day of the week to beat Murphy. I'm just going to be honest with you. I think that Lopes is more explosive, athletic, and I get that they're all well-rounded, but Lopes' strengths stand out because he actually has that finishing ability. Like, that power on the feet can really carry through. The submission ability on the ground and pound as a whole, like, Lopes is dangerous everywhere, and I think that he makes for a nightmare matchup for not only Volkman and not only Silva, as we saw, but also Evlov and Murphy and Sterling, like these guys that would challenge for the belt. I like Lopes' chances. So to be honest, I think he claims the belt, and like I said, I want to touch on Silva. I could go with Silva here. I think that Silva could get past Allen and go on a good streak, and maybe next year we see Gene Silva back in the title picture, but I'm just not as confident in that one. Not that I'm super confident in this Lopes one, but I don't know, man. When I'm looking at the rankings, that's what I'm seeing here. Moving on to next to the lightweight division here, and I'm going to get crafty. You know, like that dunce hat? Like, what's that white hat that people wear, right? They get picked out at school, right? They get like a dumpster poured over their head when they're in the bathroom stall. You know what I'm talking about? Like the dunce hat, right? Hopefully that makes sense. That's what I'm putting on, and this is going to be like my hardcore little dunce head here, okay? Because I'm putting a shout and I'm putting respect on Faraz Ziam, sitting at number 15 right now, and I think he's that sneaky dark horse of the division where I don't think he'll crack in the top 7, but when I'm looking at Old Man Chandler, and Dariush as well, and Moicano as well, and when I'm looking at these prospects on the rise right next to Ziam in the rankings, like Torres and Rufi, listen, Ziam's either going to face those guys, and I like his chances, or he's going to face these old guys like a Moicano, Dariush, Chandler, and I like his chances there, and then you're getting a BSD and Fazeev, and I don't know if Ziam is exactly ready for the Gamrots, BSDs, Fazevs yet, but I don't think the UFC is going to push him there too much too soon, and I don't think Ziam's the most active fighter in the world, so I think he's going to fight twice, probably once in the spring or summer and once next winter. They'll probably want him on that, actually, never mind. They're going to want him on the Paris card in like September or whatever, right? The point is, I think Ziam's going to fight 2 times and win both of his matchups. I think one might be against someone maybe lower against him, maybe a dangerous prospect, and they're fighting for the number 15 spot. Like, it's literal life and death, right? Like, it's fucking Prime Hogan and Andre the Giant fighting for number 15, bro. But the point is, whether he fights up, my whole point with naming all those other guys is I like his chances until he reaches, like, 8 or 9 territory, and I don't think he's even going to make it that far this year yet. But I think the 2 fights he'll get, I think he'll win. I think he'll get maybe a pretty big or favorable matchup, one or the other, for the Paris card. So, Ziam, man, this guy's improving on his wrestling a lot. His striking's already really slick, really fast and precise, really technical. He's long and rangy, and he utilizes that really well, man. And again, if the wrestling's improving, not only defensively, but offensively now, man, and he's fucking coming off a great win streak in general, but a great win, implementing elbows really really well against Sadikov, man. I'm almost forgetting the motherfucker's name, but as a whole, man, it's a really impressive win to the point to where I think Ziam, I'm going to put respect on him. I think that he's going to go 2-0 this year. Moving on up next to heavyweight here. This is my least confident one. I was actually going to save this one for last because of the sheer kind of absurdity of it at first, but you know what, man? Hey, y'all hear that? Y'all hear that? It's the Great Khali's entrance song, but no, it's actually Tallison Teixeira, bro. This motherfucker reminds me of the Great Khali, bro. The way he's coming in, and he's like, you know, if Dana White is Vince McMahon, and Vince wanted, you know, the heavyweight division wasn't looking so good, guys, so they had to bring the Great Khali in. He was big and strong, long rangey, and he not go to people, and then, I don't know why I made him Russian, but... And then he goes in there, and that is what I feel like the UFC sees with Teixeira. That's why after beating Justin Tafa in his UFC debut, they rushed him to Derek Lewis in a main event. I think Teixeira is going to be my pick here, man. Now listen, I know that it's hard to believe, right? Again, I was going to save him for last because I'm not confident, and it's just kind of weird at first because this guy's 1-1 already in the UFC. I trust in Tallison Teixeira, man, and I also trust in the lack of depth for the heavyweight division. Like, of course I want to go with Valter Walker. I'm a massive Valter Walker fan. That's the dream interview, boys. But I think he'll beat Martin Tybura. But the problem is he's already so young, and I don't think his striking is too crazy to, like... Walker is good. His grappling for heavyweight is great, especially in his submission ability as a whole. But, like, when you get to an Almeida or an Acosta soon or a Blades, I don't know. So I can't put Walker on here because he's getting really close to some massive matchups I don't know he'll be able to get past. Whereas Teixeira is going to fight Tai Tuivasa in January, a couple weeks, right? I think he'll get past him, but I might be wrong. The Blobs might be back better than ever, you know what I'm saying? Tai might go from like the super eon heavyweight title to all of a sudden normal heavyweight here. Maybe Ty can get it done. But the point is, I think Teixeira will bounce back maybe for a Brazil card later in the year. Maybe face a Mick Parkin. Like, I like his chances against Gaziev, the Blob, Tybura as well. Who the fuck knows, you know? So as a whole, or even some unranked heavyweight, there's not a lot of them. Like Nuzachuku on the rise, I would pick Teixeira to knock him out, honestly. I'm trusting in Tallison above all because I trust in the skill set, man. I get that he got knocked out by Lewis, but everybody and their mother seemingly has. I think this guy has the height and the reach for days. I think that he has the speed, the athleticism, nice volume and output as well. The striking and the power for heavyweight. And again, I think he'll utilize that reach, that knockout ability. And I feel like he'll make efficient work at a lot of the guys outside the rankings or even some in it to the point to where, yeah, he might be able to get out wrestled, maybe even get caught in his own chin. But I'm trusting in the fact that this guy moves like a fucking middleweight. And I think that that's kind of a rare breed for heavyweight. I don't think he'll be top 5 or champ, but I think he'll go 2-0 or maybe 3-0 this year. Moving on up next here to middleweight. This is truly a Disney story here, man. Try not to get a fucking tear in your eye, but I'm going to truly believe in Reiner de Ridder, all right? I believe that Reiner de Ridder is going to bounce back. I think he's going to beat Kyle Barajo in March. I think he's going to fight 1 or 2 more times after that. And I think that Reiner de Ridder might experience a loss. Listen, because I think he's already in that upper echelon division. I think that a DDP could beat him. I think an Imavov could beat him. So I think a Chimaev obviously would beat him. I think it's the nature of the beast for someone like Reiner de Ridder, you know what I'm saying? Maybe a Fluffy would beat him. So overall, it's hard to say, but with Reiner, I do like his chances against Barajo. I do like his chances against like Brendan Allen, maybe in a rematch when he's not so fucking active or weight drained. Maybe I'm looking too much into that, I don't know. But if you beat Robert Whitaker, if you're knocking out Bo Nickel, if you're submitting Kevin Holland, only Chimaev's done that, like I rate this for Reiner de Ridder, and I understand he is coming off that loss, but I still believe in him, you know what I'm saying? He's like the fat kid on the cross-country team, right? I trust in you, motherfucker. You're gonna lose that weight, you're gonna move up the goddamn team, okay? You're gonna cut those minutes off your time. That's how I trust him. Reiner de Ridder. He's my crafty pick here, man, because genuinely think he'll beat Barajo. And I like his chances against an Izzy or a Strickland or a lot of these guys, man, or even a Fluffy. Like, I understand that the Brendan Allen loss did a lot to kind of bring down RDR stock, but think of it, like his stock was non-existent almost 365 days ago. The GM3 fight, the one where he was going life and death and everyone was shitting on him, that was November of 2024. That was not too long ago, and he's already done so much since. So I think the one loss isn't going to take away from how well he'll do this year in the grand scheme, to be honest with you. I think that Brendan Allen is that good, and Reiner de Ridder was that active, and it all came together that night, but I trust in RDR in his next matchup, and I trust him to go 2-0 or 3-0 this year, all right? He's only 34 years old, has already so much experience, he's well-rounded, dangerous, just an absolute menace in the pocket, and absolutely in the clinch as well. He's got devastating knees and everything as well on the feet and on the ground, so overall, man, RDR's dangerous. I'm going to put him here for the middleweights. Moving on next year to the welterweight division. And for this one, I got to go with somebody unranked. Now, I do have a, not to spoil here, right? I mean, it's the same video, all right? I'm talking about like a fucking Watch Mojo video. I'm just saying, I do have another champion or two awaiting, but I would just go with Makhachev because I think Makhachev's going to go undefeated this year, 1-0 or 2-0. But I just don't know how active he'll be, and I don't know which matchup it's going to be. There's so many uncertainties with it. So I think Makhachev's going to do great, but overall, I'm going to do somebody unranked, you know? And I think it's going to be Joel Alvarez here because Joel Alvarez, I can't believe he's not ranked because D-Rod, Covington, Jeff Neal, Gilbert Burns, and Gabriel Bonfim are all above him, and I would pick Alvarez to beat all those guys. When you get to Buckley territory, Leon Edwards territory, like maybe I could see them winning, or maybe Alvarez gets past them, but then you get to Usman, then you get to Brady. So the point is, that's number 8 in Usman. I think from 9 onwards, like listen, Alvarez could lose to Buckley and Edwards and guys like that, even a Bonfim, even a Burns, somebody like that, right? Maybe even a crafty D-Rod loss here, but overall, I think Joel Alvarez is so well-rounded. The finishing ratio is devastating. It sucks that he lost the golden Super Saiyan 100% finishing ratio to Vicente fucking Luque, of all people. But regardless, man, I think Alvarez is dangerous enough to the point to where I can't rely on anyone in the welterweight rankings to truly not experience a loss this year, 1 through 15, besides Makhachev. So the point is, I think Alvarez is that guy unranked where it's like, I could see him getting a lot of good matchups, specifically because I don't think he'll get anyone in the top 8 soon until next year or later this year. And I think that Alvarez, he's not the most active fighter, so I think he'll fight 2 times this year. I think he'll go 2-0, but like, I'm picking him against D-Rod. I'm sorry. I'm picking him against Jeff Neal, even though I like Jeff Neal. I'm picking him against Bonfim, you know what I'm saying? So overall, I like Alvarez's chances here stylistically. I know the Vicente Luque win was a good win, but nothing that blew us out the water, but I still believe in the dude. Young, hungry, and I like his mold for the welterweight division now instead of lightweight. You know what I'm saying? He doesn't have to kill himself just to make 155 anymore, you know? Moving on next to light heavyweight here, and I'm going to go with Jiri Prochazka, and it makes me happy as hell to say so, man. I think this guy has a golden setup to go 2-0 once again, just like how he did in 2025. But this year, man, he's already setting up to have a big fight for the vacant title or the interim title or just a #1 contendership fight, no title, versus Carlos Ulberg for Miami or the 326 card right before. It's going to be one of those two. And overall, I think Yuri's going to go out there and beat Ulberg. He might become the champ if Pereira moves up and it is for the vacant title. And I like his chances against Ankalaev a lot. I would have picked him to beat Ankalaev last year or the year before. I've always said this about Prochazka. I'm picking him to beat anybody in the division. And I picked him to beat Pereira in a rematch. And maybe the first time I already forgot. But the point is he came up short. I just really believe in Prochazka's skill set. He's a samurai. He's a student of the fucking game. He's ever evolving. He himself is well-rounded, man. He's deceptively one of these guys that can hold his own on the ground even though he just likes to stand and fucking bang, but he submitted Glover Teixeira. You know what I'm fucking saying? So, and really, when's the last time you saw someone fucking taking down Jiri? The point is, even after that, like, he just beat up number 4 Khalil. There's number 5 Blachowicz after that, but it's like Blachowicz is on a 5-fight loss streak, 3-fight loss streak, somewhere like that. I don't even know. Mirzakhanov up next, but dude, not to spoil, but I almost put Paulo Costa on here to represent the light heavyweights because I think Costa's going to beat Mirzakhanov and be ranked in the fucking top 7. I think he'll be a bit more active now that he can actually make 205, and I think that he might get a big matchup, but I don't know if I trust Costa against like an Ankalaev or an Ulberg or a Khalil. You know what I'm saying? But Mirzakhanov, man, I know Mirzakhanov's really powerful, but not to go in that whole rant, but the point is I almost put Costa on here. I think he'll fit light heavyweight well, but the point is, Jesus Christ, imagine Prochazka versus Costa for the title. What a timeline we're living in. But the point is, Prochazka here, man, I fear for a Chimaev matchup, for example, but overall for light heavyweight exclusively here, I would pick Prochazka to beat everybody. If Pereira really would move up, like, I would pick Pereira to beat him in a trilogy, but if that's not the case, man, I think Prochazka beats every other light heavyweight on the planet Earth. As of right now, when I'm looking in the rankings, man, he's already beaten so many of them. I think he'll continue to do that, hopefully with gold around his fucking waist. I'm a big Jiri fan, and overall, I would love to see it, so I'm going with Jiri. Not because of the bias, but because of the skill set, because of these, I mean, not even favorable matchups. Jiri makes it favorable because of his insane pressure and power and the fact that he refuses to fucking go out, man. He refuses to go out being finished. He refuses to go out to a decision. He is kill or be killed, okay? So I think Jiri's going to have a great year. Up next to the flyweight division here, man, and I'm going with the champion in Joshua Van here. Listen, man, I already kind of ranted about this in another video, so I'm not going to dwell on it too long, but I think that Joshua Van is going to have a stellar year this year, and I know that's a hot take, but I think this dude's going to fight, what, like sometime between February and April, like maybe the Miami co-main event or something. I think that he'll beat him in El Cop, dude. I think he'll beat Atara. I think he'll beat Pantoja in a rematch, and this, from me, could be fucking insane, because I picked Royval to beat Van, and I picked Pantoja to beat Van, and he came up, I don't really count the first time, technically, I don't really count the Pantoja fight as a real Van win, but the point is, Van had a great year in 2025. Van is the champion. Van is riding all the momentum in the world, not necessarily because I know could have been a better way to win the title, but the point is he had a great 4-0, people forget about that, but 4-0 last year for 2025, going from like number 14 to the champion, so it was a great year for Van. His youth, and the fact that he is so green, the fact that he's only been training MMA for like 6 years, this is the kind of shit. Oh, you thought I was going to say it, didn't you? This is the kind of shit that gives me so much confidence. He's already this good to beat a Royval. He's already this good to hold his own in the scrambles and have his takedown defense really shine against guys outside the rankings or even inside the rankings like a Bruno Silva, you know? I trust in Van's wrestling against a Tyra. I think Tyra could be a nightmare matchup for him. I could see Tyra just having such elite ground and pound and such good enough back-taking skills and submission ability as a whole to really just control and dominate and eventually maybe submit or beat up as on the ground as a whole Joshua Van. So I could see Tyra becoming the champion 100%, man. And that'd be a sick fight. 24 versus 25-year-old to carry the division. That's crazy, man. And then Cop, what a striker spectacle. And I would love that fight. I think there'd be shit talk. But in just a striking battle, Cop is the much more powerful guy, but I trust, maybe not much more, but I trust in Van, dude, truly, because he's so young and ever improving, man. Just a bit more than these guys. It is so hard in the modern era to become the second youngest fucking champion of all time. You know what I mean? And Pantoja in a rematch, Pantoja in the first fight, man, his momentum now is just snapped, bouncing back from the injury. Like he's focusing on different problems than just the problem alone of Van. And listen, man, I think Pantoja's a killer, Tyra's a killer, Cop's a killer, but if Van is 24 and already good enough to be 7 or 8-1 in the UFC and already touched the gold, already beat Royval, already show off the takedown defense, I trust in him to go on one of these runs, because when you hold the flyweight title, unless you're like Moreno and Figueiredo and they were going back and forth with it, if you're Pantoja and you're DJ and you're the champion, man, you run with the title for years and fucking years, right? And I think Van, because he's so young, and because this division is set up, yeah, it's got a bunch of killers, but Van's also a killer, man, right? I really think that, yeah, he's got some tough matchups for him, but he's a tough matchup for a lot of these motherfuckers, okay? So I think that this lack of experience is actually going to help him, and he'll just keep on getting better and better and better. Some of these guys have already hit their peak. Some of these guys have less room to improve, unlike Van, and he's already this fucking good, okay? So maybe I'm making too big a point out of that. My point is, I think it'll help him because he's already active. His striking is already that good. I think he's going to go 2-0 or 3. I think he'll go 3-0 this year. I'm standing my base on that. He'll be fighter of the year for 2026. And everyone's going to be all fucking amazed. And how do we ever talk shit about him? And it's going to be fucking insane. And he'll be the new flyweight king. And maybe I'm wrong and he loses it in his first fucking defense. But we'll have to see. I'm going with Joshua Van. Moving on to the last one we got here for the bantamweight division. Umar Nurmagomedov. Listen, I'm not an Umar fan, right? I really think he's one of my more least likable fighters on the roster, which it sucks to say, because then you have the Daggy fans, they're going to hear me say that, and then all of a sudden they're going to be like, fuck this guy. And then you have the people that see me just putting respect on Umar, though, because I have him in this video, they're going to be like, well, fuck this guy. So it's kind of a lose-lose putting Umar in these kinds of videos, right? But I got to stand my base with him, man, because I really do think that even though I'm not an Umar fan, I can't deny the fucking skill set. And I think that his striking is just good enough to hang with a Sandhagen for 25 minutes, man. Then maybe it'd be good enough. And it's good enough to hang with Marab for 25 minutes. I don't know how it goes against like a Jan or O'Malley. We'll have to see it. And also, I know there's cardio concerns. You know, I know that there's chin concerns, very chinny concerns with Umar. There's 101 reasons, you know. I understand kind of to go against the wave here and just say fuck Umar and kind of just pick and choose and be like, you know what, this guy is not as good as people are saying, and I don't think he will be Jan. I see a lot of people saying that Jan is an absolute nightmare matchup for Umar, and I don't disagree. Jan is a really hard matchup for Umar, but I just think that Jan's not going to fight Umar this year. It's going to be like 2027, and similar to what I was saying about Van, Umar's just going to get even better, and I rate that shit, man, to Jan, who's already peaking, and O'Malley, who's thinking about retiring. If he loses his song, you know, I'm letting you know, ladies and fucking gentlemen, like, he's going to retire. So overall, Umar is going to be here for the longest, and I think that's why I think eventually he will become a champ. I think that he just has so much to his skill set. He has already such a high-level wrestling game, but the fact that his striking's ever evolving, he's got such a good kicking game, I think relies a bit too much on the wrestling sometimes, and I think he's a fucking decision machine. But the point is, man, like, I can't deny the skill set, you know? Like, he puts me to sleep while watching him, but that's the thing, man. Like, there's a chance that he could still really become the champion. So I think he'll go 2, maybe 3-0 this year. I think he'll beat Figueiredo, and then I think he'll fight, like, I don't even know. Zahabi, like, the loser of Sean and Song, like, the loser of Jan and Marab. I don't know. But I think Umar will go 2-0 this year, and then next year he'll probably be set up to probably get like some big title fight, you know? Because I think Jan is going to face Marab in a trilogy, and then maybe like O'Malley at the White House this year, and that'll be all you see of Jan. So I think Umar next year will probably get a title fight, but at least for this year, I think he'll go 2-0 against top 8, top 7 ranked guys, you know what I'm saying? So that's going to be it for this video, boys. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Let me know where you agree or disagree, and overall, just let me know your thoughts, man. Which fighters would you have? Having a great 2026 and dominating. Which ones do you think are going to fail? Let me know. I appreciate y'all for making it this far in the video, though. I'm beyond excited for the fights next weekend, and I'm doing a fight companion for it, a live stream for it, so very excited to chat with y'all watching the fight. So I'll see y'all then, and I appreciate y'all. All the smoke here. See you guys next time.